we look at disarms with a cane.
This is the Kitsune clan, a group of sword enthusiasts who like cosplay, reenactment, and historical martial arts. If you have similar interests, feel welcomed.
It's finally Christmas again, and I wanted to have a dedicated Christmas episode. And this year we are using candy cane for self-defense. No, not really. Our candy cane prop will probably not survive some severe testing, so we take a rattan cane as a substitute and we look at the capabilities of disarming with this device. This fits to our general bo or hanbo or stick stuff we did in the recent videos. People might also interested in what you can do with the cane, and overall I like the theme of disarms with some more unusual weapons. There are two possibilities how to use this device, and we will have two videos for this reason, so this is basically a part one. And the first step, we can take the hook-shaped part of the cane close to the hand. The advantage is this gives a rather balanced hold and provides also a bit of protection. And we can use this hooky end now for disarming. These disarms remind a bit of the disarms we can do with the butt region, but, pun intended, we don't have to turn the stick around. I suggest when you train these, be a bit careful, because what usually happens, the hook part attacks the fingers of your training partner and disarm by this motion. Otherwise, it should not be surprising. We have disarms for each of the four angles. As with the butt disarms, it's the same. The two circle disarms are now a bit more complicated because you go back and forth. But on the contrary, the cross disarms, so against angle 2 and angle 4, these disarms will come very natural and very smoothly. So just let them come. There's not too much to say about that. It depends a bit how your cane or your umbrella or whatever you are using is exactly formed. If the arc is a bit more open, you can really hook in, or also if you leave a bit more space, then you can also hook in. If it's tighter or you have your hand very much down, it's really more like striking with this extension onto the fingers of the opponent. This is overall a very effective technique. It's very reminiscent to techniques with swords and knives that have a cross guard. Basically, this curved region of the cane is kind of a cross guard on the wrong side of the hand. Yeah, not really, but especially concerning disarms, it's very, very similar to some of the pronged weapons. I will link videos in the description box, two different types of disarms, including some of the disarms with the prongs, and you will see what I mean if you look at it. These type of disarms will work with most of the canes. Many of the modern canes don't have this curved region, but more of a straight angled grip. This will still be possible to use, although possibly not as elegant as here, but the striking aspect can be definitely used in the same manner. Is this now more advantageous than a normal stick? Yes, somehow. It's interesting to train that aspect because it's a special type of stick. On the other hand, it's a more common type of stick. If you think of many umbrellas, they will look like that, and it's more likely in a self-defense situation to have an umbrella than to have your nice little Eskrima type of stick. Therefore, it does somehow make sense also to train these aspects. The market for training devices is surprisingly not as full of these types of stick as you might imagine. The one we're using here is made out of rattan, which is usually a very good type of training material. That's why it's also used for most of the Eskrima sticks and stuff like that. So that one I can definitely suggest to use for this type of stuff. Does it give us now a Christmassy feel? Yeah, somehow. If you would get attacked and you have a giant candy cane, of course you could use it like that. The advantages, of course, if you do these types of disarms, it's more likely that your candy cane does not shatter, because if you strike with it, it's made out of brittle material. It might shatter in this situation, and a disarm is more likely. Still, candy cane defense is probably not the very most effective and applicable type of technique. Still, for the aspect of cane defense, these techniques definitely have their merits, and people tend to forget that these hooks at the end of the stick might have, in fact, quite some use. Of course, we can also turn the stick around. We will do that in the second part of the video because that gives us even more possibilities. Besides training disarms in the classical drill type, like getting an attack from angle 1 and then do the disarm, getting an attack from angle 2 and a disarm, we can also use other drills to get into more free flow situations. For example, we can use the classical shield block, roof block drill. I will also link a video to that in the description box, and then try to break this drill and get into disarming situations from here. That's a general advice whenever you want to learn disarms. First step, understand the disarm mechanics, and that is best done in situations in connection to specific angles. Then you can always check, aha, on this angle it works like that, on that angle it works like that, apply the same mechanics, then get into drill situations that you do many repetitions of these techniques, and then you can go into drills that don't include the disarms immediately, but that lead into free flow situations where you can apply stuff. After that, you can go into real free flow and then also try it in sparring. From my experience, if you drill a lot of disarms, you will find some disarms that you like more than others, and it's often not the same that your teacher likes. At least that's with my classes always. That's why I teach all of these always in a systematic manner, and then everybody can decide what's his or her favorite disarm to be used in free flow situations. Therefore, I also think it's so important to show all the possibilities that are out there, and then you can find what suits your physique best. You might have preferences because you are limited in certain ranges of motion on your right shoulder or on your left elbow or whatever, and therefore some of these disarms will work better for you and some others will not work as well for you, and therefore you always should have all the possibilities that are out there presented to you. That's one of the main reasons why you see here always these groups of 4 disarms, each for one angle with the same principle, that you can have the entire range of these techniques, and then you can choose what you think is most appropriate for you. So basically, these techniques are now a Christmas present for all people training stick defense, or here specifically cane defense. I think there's a big audience for that. Hope people like the idea that I present here, and maybe you can give me some feedback if stuff works out for you. For me, it works really well, but in everyday life, I rarely have a cane, and I also don't train as much with it as I should. Maybe that's one of my resolves for next year, increase the number of hours I train with a cane. Looking forward to part 2, will still come out this year, and otherwise, I have to say, I hope we could inspire you, and I hope to see you around next time.